For section 9.4, this is on the area and perimeter of trapezoids. So trapezoids are just shapes like this, where you have bases that are parallel, and then these slant sides like A and C won't be parallel to each other. That's why they're different than a parallelogram. So they'll just be at different angles and such. So you can see that. But the bases, the top and the bottom, have to be parallel for a trapezoid. So for this one right here, if you're asking for a perimeter of this trapezoid right here, A is 15, B is 13.3, C is 15.7, and D is 17.1. All you do, since we're actually asking about the perimeter, is add up every side. So you had A plus B plus C plus D. So you just take those numbers and add them together. It's not too difficult at all. And when I add those together, I have it 61.1 units. So that would be the answer for that one. For this next one, okay, so there is a formula when you're trying to calculate the area. And this one says the area of a trapezoid is this. Now, the formula is you take your two bases, right here, A and B, you add them together, divide by 2, and you multiply that by whatever the height is. So that's the formula. So let's just start plugging in things here. We've got 5x minus 2 for A. We've got x plus 3 for B. And our height is 2 centimeters. All those are centimeters. I should have put that in there. But okay, so if we plug that in, we take A, which is right here, add it to B, divide by 2, and multiply it by the height. So we have 5x minus 2 plus this one right here, x plus 3. All that's divide by 2, and then you multiply it by the height, which is 2. So these 2's actually can cancel each other out. It tells me that that equals 31 centimeters cubed. I'm going to leave off the unit of measure, as you see that I did here, just because it'll all cancel each other out, and I'll be left with centimeters here. But so just combine these. So 5x and x is 6x. Negative 2 plus 3 is plus 1. That equals, and this should have been 31, not 3. That equals 31. So subtract 1 from both sides so that you get the x on one side and the numbers on the other. So 6x equals 30, and divide by 6, because divide is the opposite of multiply, and you do the opposite to get rid of it and leave the x alone. And so x equals 5 centimeters. So if you take this x, and it said calculate the length of the longer base right in here. So you just take it and you plug it in for x right there. So 5 times 5 minus 2. So that's 25 minus 2 is 23. And there's your answer right there. So you just have to look at what the directions say, what it's asking you to solve, to just make sure that you have it correctly. Calculate the area of this trapezoid. If A is, let's get the pen, 13.8, B right here is 10.6, C is 6.1, and the height is 9.2. Well, this is extra information because I just need the two bases added together. You divide that by 2 and multiply by the height. So I take 13.8, add it to 6.1, divide that by 2, and multiply it by the height. And you can just plug that in a calculator. So 13.8 plus 6.1 is 19.9. Divide that by 2 and you get 9.95. Multiply that by 9.2 and you get 91.54, which is right here. So just use your calculator to solve, but you can see they gave us extra information. We needed the two bases added together, divide by 2, multiply by the height. Okay, calculate the perimeter. If A, it gives you A, B, C, and D. So you just add all these numbers together because perimeter is the outside. is the length of each one. So it's like walking around it all. This perimeter. Calculate the area of a trapezoid if, this is the information it gives us, A is 15.4, B 12.3, C 6.7, and height is 10.3. Again, this is extra information because it's one of the slants. So we want the bases. We want the ones that are parallel to each other is the ones that you add together. So 6.7 plus 15.4 divide by 2 multiply by 10.3. And I'm just plugging that in my calculator right now. And I get 113.815. And so that's right there. That's the area formula. Okay, next one. This one's a little bit shorter, so we'll see what we have. Calculate the area of a regular octagon with side length 7 and apothem 4 times square root of 10. Sorry. I'm trying to click on something real quick. Okay, so if you're figuring out the area of a regular octagon, the formula is 1/2 times the perimeter times this apothem is what they call the apothem. I don't know. I'm just putting AP for apothem. So if you have an 8-sided figure and the side is 7, then we know that the perimeter is just that side, 8 times 7, which is 56. So this formula is 1/2 times 56 times your apothem, which is 4 square root of 10 feet. So if you multiply that all out, you just leave that square root of 10 in the end, and you multiply 1/2 times 56 times 4, and all that's multiplied by square root of 10. So if you do that, you will get 112 times square root of 10 square units. So that's how you solve that, just 1/2 times 56 times 4 with the square root of 10 left there. Now, just as a side note, I don't care. We will not be tested on this. You will not have to on this question 6 right here with apothem and regular and all of that. It was just on this unit, and I wanted you to calculate the area of these other things. So just kind of skip through that if you need, but don't know that you will not have to know that on a test. Okay, question 7. Calculate this area if A is 17.2, B is 14.2, C is 8.4, and H is 12.2. Again, this is extra. We don't want that. And it's the bases that are parallel. You add together, divide by 2, times by the height. So 8.4 plus 17.2, divide that by 2, and times it by the height, which is 12.2. So as I plug that in the calculator, I get 113. Oops, I did something wrong in my calculator. I have to do something first. I have to go 8.4 plus 17.2. Go enter first because that's an order of operations things. Then you want to go divide by 2, and then you can multiply that by 12.2. And you get 156.16. So again, you want to add these together, press enter, then divide by the 2 and multiply by 12.2. If you don't do that, it thinks 8.4 plus 17.2. It doesn't put 2 underneath both of those. So make sure you push enter first when you're adding, just in order to follow the order of operations. Okay, next one. If the area of this trapezoid is 140, and we're going to have AB 4x minus 3, B is x plus 6, and your H is 10. So you add 4x minus 3 plus, so you add the two bases, x plus 6, divide that by 2, multiply it by your height, which is 10. So 2 goes into 10 5 times. So you can cancel that all out. Oh, by the way, and that equals 140 centimeters cubed, square. So add these together. Let's see, you add these together and multiply by 5. So we have 4x and x is 5x. Negative 3 and 6 is a positive 3. Multiply that by 5, and that equals 140. So you can divide by 5 and get rid of it with the 140, which I would probably do first. So divide both things by 5. And this leaves 5x plus 3 on this side. And 140 minus 5 on this other side is 28. Now subtract 3, it's 25 here. 5x here, divide by 5, divide by 5. And this becomes 5. So x equals 5. That looks terrible. Let me write it again. X equals 5. Okay, so now it says calculate the length of the longer base. So you take the 5, plug it back into here. 5 times 4 is 20, minus 3 is 17. So the length of the longer base is 17. Okay, area, if you have these. You've got A 15.9, which I don't know why I wrote that, but we'll do it again. 15.9 is A, B is 11.7, and C is 6, and H is 10. So if this is extra information, add 6 plus 15.9, divide by 2, and multiply it by your height. Okay, so this becomes 5. You can just say 6 plus 15.9, enter, and then multiply that by 5, and it gives you 109.5 square units. That's how you calculate. Okay, I think this is the last problem because this is just a 10 problem assignment. Now you're going to calculate the perimeter, and it gives you all A, B, C, and D. So add all those together, and you've got this problem done. So if you have any questions, again, all of these I want you to calculate or and figure out. And you can still do this one with the apothem that I showed you, number 6. With that formula, it's 1/2 times the perimeter times the apothem to figure that out. But that is the least of my worries as far as the assignment goes. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know.